Um, we're here for your post-conference. I just want to start by going over the lesson. It seems your objective, you were doing a writing lesson with the first grade class, and the objectives were to use pictures and words to describe character setting and events from a story. And then your directive of learning, your DOL, was to complete 2 out of 3 boxes on my storyboard using at least one objective. Can you tell me a little about the lesson, how you organized the kids when they first came into the class?
Every time we do a lesson, the students sit on the carpet. They know where their spots are. They stay away from the kids that they get in trouble with. We do a lot of interactions so the kids can work with each other. They can work with me. That's probably about it.
And it looks like you had the kids sit on a carpet, and then you gave them whiteboards, little different whiteboards.
Yeah.
And then they described adjectives, and then from the monster, and then they went back to their seat and worked with a partner. And I saw some form of accountable talk where they're working within groups. I just had a few questions with you about the lesson. I was wondering if you just give me a brief answer.
Sure.
In general, how successful was the lesson?
The lesson went very well. I think using the boards and the whiteboard helps guide the process.
Okay. Did the students learn what you intended them to learn?
Yes, they were able to use pictures and words to describe characters, setting, and events from the story. The DOL was completed with accuracy.
Okay, good. How do you know the objective was met?
They were able to complete the assignment by completing 2 of the boxes on their storyboard, and they were also able to do it in groups on the floor.
In groups on the floor?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you just comment on your classroom procedures, like how classroom management policies that you have with the kids?
I like to run a structured and organized classroom. Student group work has helped improve my instruction and offers the time to work with small groups.
Okay. How do you view student conduct?
I make sure the students understand the rules and remind them about good behavior. I always monitor and guide the behavior, but they are kids and sometimes they do need to be reminded.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of kids needed to be reminded to stay on task,
Yeah.
especially during the group work.
There's always a couple.
There's always a couple, right? Okay. How about the physical space of the classroom? How the layout of the classroom, how everything's set up? How do you view that?
Well, the students sit in small groups and it makes it easier to work with them. It also makes it easier for them to work with each other. It offers them a lot of opportunities to engage.
Engage with other students.
Correct.
Okay, good. During the lesson, did you depart from any plan of it? Did you have to try a different strategy here or there when you, like a teachable moment or things like that?
I implemented the lesson and only really needed to redirect for several students a couple times. They needed reminders for following the process and staying on task.
How about different aspects of instructional delivery, activities, grouping of students, materials, resources that you had?
Task activities help the students discover the concept of the lesson with their partners. It gave them a chance to explore and understand.
Explore and understand. Okay, good. If you had a chance to do this lesson to the same group, what would you do differently? Anything you would change to it?
I would do the same activity as it was very effective. The students do need to practice to develop understanding through reinforcement with homework.
Good, good. So as I observed the full lesson, I used Danielson's model, and we rated you basic or proficient on different aspects of the lesson. I just wanted to go over it with you. I gave you a copy of the rubric here. There's different domains within the Danielson model. The first domain is planning and preparation. And before the lesson started, you did a lot of planning and preparation. Based on our pre-conference, the questions that I asked you, based on different elements, especially learning activities, I believe you were proficient. Learning activity was aligned with the district pacing guide. According to instructional material, resources, it was a basic visual tool of the monster, and the partner activity was effective. But I felt maybe the students should have you provided the students an exemplar example that they can use as a model to see if they're working correctly. The instructional groups aspects, when you place the students into groups, I know some groups were demonstrating the ability to grasp a concept, but some groups were a little off task. So maybe in the future, something that we could work on is manipulating the groups more effectively so they work together more productively. The lesson in unit structure. Activities were organized and had a clear, defined structure. If you turn to the next page, domain 2, the classroom environment. Teacher, your interaction with the students. I believe you're proficient. Students exhibited respect for you, and they demonstrated a gentle, caring environment. Student interaction with other students. I put basic as that. I believe the students were playing respectful, but they some of them got off task. And the partner activities where they demonstrated some proficiency, but there is room for improvement there. Domain 2, the classroom environment. Component to be establishing a culture for learning. I believe the first element, importance of content, it was proficient. You conveyed importance of the student work, and the classroom is conducive and displays student work. As I look around the classroom, there's a lot of student work displayed, which is a good thing for the students to look at when they're doing their activities. Your expectations for learning and achievement was proficient. Classroom expectations are high, and students display appropriate classroom attitudes. Students' pride in work. Students are very teachable now, and they're highly motivated. So students have played pride in their work and accepted everything that you wanted them to complete. We're going to turn to the next page. The classroom environment, again, managing classroom procedures, management of instructional groups. But again, I put basic. Some groups were not as productively engaged as others, and I felt that if unsupervised, those students would become off task and they needed to be redirected. So that's something we can work on. Management of traditions, I felt it was very smooth. You went from one transition to another. We went from the carpet to back to their seats. That was very smooth. So I put that at proficient. Management of materials and supplies was proficient. Routines were established for handing out materials. Performance of non-instructional duties. I noticed that each students have jobs, and one of the students' jobs was to hand out worksheets, so I thought that was very good. I didn't observe any volunteers or paraprofessionals. If we look down the classroom environment again, managing student behavior, expectations. I believe some of the students had reminded to stay on task, so maybe the expectations could be a little higher so that basically the students understand the expectations. Monitoring of student behavior, you're on top of them, and you were very attentive to the behaviors at all times. You redirected students that were off task, and you reinforced good behavior. Response to student misbehavior, students were directed about the process for working in groups, and I thought that was proficient as well. If you turn the page, classroom environment again, organizing physical space. Safety and accessibility, the classroom is very safe and learning is accessible to all students. Arrangement of furniture and use of physical resources. I see in the classroom everything is arranged very good and is set up for any kind of learning activity that you do with the students. Domain 3, instruction, communicating clearly and accurately. Expectations for learning is the first element. And I put that as basic. Purpose of the lesson was clear. The lesson develops understanding for concepts. And reinforcement of partner activity should be addressed again there. Directions and procedures. I believe that were proficient. Directions and procedures were clear to students. Your explanations of concepts were also proficient. And I thought they were very appropriate for the age level. And use of oral and written language. The vocabulary you used for the kids was also very acceptable for that age level. Just some notes I put on the bottom about you were very clear and concise and age appropriate with vocabulary. Just the purpose of a accountable talk should be more clearly defined to the students so they truly understand the purpose of accountable talk and how they can use their information and actually teach it to another student. Because I do feel teaching is the highest form of learning, so if they can take that information and use the accountable talk to teach another student, that would be very beneficial to them. And domain 3, again, using questioning and discussion techniques. The quality of questions I thought was basic. They address the concept of the lesson, but I feel there should be more higher order thinking questions to solicit some more responses. Discussion techniques. You made an attempt to engage the students, which is very good. Just again, the structures for accountable talk should be addressed, and that should be developed more. And student participation was, I thought it was basic. I thought maybe half the class really was engaged, participating. More participation with their asking questions and when you ask them questions. So I thought if you engage in more higher order thinking questions and open-ended questions, you get more responses. Domain number 3, just some notes I had. Engaging students in learning. Students were engaged. Collaboration with the groups needs to be improved to enrich the learning outcome. All right, so basically what we go from now is we have a professional growth plan that I would like to discuss with you. And I give you a copy of it. And basically the first column of goals to address. And the first goal was to more effectively use accountable talk. And some of the activities, professional development that we could utilize is, I know in second grade they have accountable talk chart that they put on their desk, so maybe the students can paste that on their desk and utilize that. And then I'll just come in and I'll be informed observation. I can see if you did that or not. And around by December 15th, I would like to see maybe everyone have their chart on their desk so that if they do an activity where they're engaged with their students, they can use the accountable talk chart. Also to pose questions to promote higher order thinking. Everything familiar with Bloom's taxonomy. Maybe we're gonna meet with me and we can write 3 or 4 questions and to understand higher order thinking questions and a variety of cognitive levels and sharing activity. And we can meet with me on lunch or prep, and maybe by the middle of December we can come up with some more questions that we can utilize during the lessons. Also with posing open-ended questions. That's the same concept that we'll use there. And then also establishing and implementing tasks. I believe that we can do this through think, pair, sharing activity strategies, and I observed a veteran teacher in the other first grade class, and she was using that strategy. So I'm thinking we can take some time and go into that classroom and observe. Any other questions you have for the lesson?
I do not have any. Thank you.
Thank you.